Coffee, a beverage now woven into the fabric of daily life, boasts a history far more turbulent than its comforting aroma suggests. Its journey across continents has been characterized by periods of fervent popularity, often clashing with powerful forces seeking to suppress it. This seemingly innocuous drink has at various times been deemed a luxury, a threat, and even a poison. Throughout its long and storied past, coffee has faced outright prohibition in numerous societies. These bans were not mere historical footnotes. They were significant attempts by authorities to control public life and economic flow. Our focus today turns to the 18th century, a pivotal era when European nations grappled with the rising tide of coffee consumption. During this period, bans and restrictions swept across the continent, driven by a complex interplay of factors. Economic anxieties, political maneuvering, and deep-seated cultural biases all converged to challenge coffee's place in society. These historical episodes vividly illustrate the extent of government power to control popular trends and individual choices, yet they also highlight the enduring, almost irresistible appeal of a simple, stimulating beverage. The primary drivers behind these 18th century prohibitions were multifaceted yet distinct. Economic concerns often served as the main impetus, directly impacting national treasuries and domestic industries. Political motivations for control also played a significant role as rulers sought to manage social gatherings and potential dissent. Underlying these practical considerations were often cultural biases, shaping perceptions of coffee and its consumers. Economic anxieties were, without doubt, a major factor in the push for prohibition. A significant concern revolved around the drain of precious metals from European coffers. Coffee beans, after all, originated from distant lands, primarily the East, and their purchase required substantial outflows of silver and gold. Coffee was widely perceived as a luxury item, a foreign indulgence. The acquisition of such luxury goods fueled a continuous outflow of national wealth, weakening domestic economies. Governments, therefore, sought to protect their financial stability and bolster local industries. Their aim was to limit access to coffee, thereby stemming the flow of currency abroad. Instead, they actively encouraged the consumption of local alternatives, such as beer, wine, or herbal teas. This strategy was designed to keep wealth circulating within national borders and support indigenous production. The economic argument against coffee was powerful and frequently invoked by those in power. Consider the stark example of Prussia under King Frederick the Great. This formidable monarch declared coffee a national poison, a pronouncement that underscored his deep disapproval. He subsequently implemented a strict ban on its consumption and trade, believing it detrimental to his kingdom. Frederick's economic justification was clear. Coffee posed a direct threat to the thriving domestic beer industry. He argued that citizens spending their money on coffee were neglecting local breweries, thereby undermining a vital sector of the Prussian economy. Furthermore, the import of coffee beans represented a drain on state resources, which he deemed unacceptable. Beyond economics, Frederick harbored significant political motivations for his ban. Coffee houses, burgeoning centers of social interaction, were viewed with suspicion. They were seen as potential breeding grounds for dissent, places where citizens could gather, discuss, and perhaps criticize government policies. The king's goal was to maintain order and control by regulating social gatherings and limiting opportunities for subversive discourse. Enforcement of this ban was remarkably thorough, even employing specialized agents known as coffee sniffers. These officials were tasked with detecting the telltale aroma of illicit coffee brewing in homes and establishments. Their existence highlights the seriousness with which Frederick pursued his prohibition, demonstrating the lengths to which a monarch would go to control a popular beverage. Restrictions, though varying in severity, were also imposed in other European nations. Many governments opted for less absolute bans, instead choosing to impose heavy taxes on coffee imports and sales. This strategy effectively made coffee unaffordable for the masses, reserving it for the wealthy elite. Other measures included outright restrictions on the import of coffee beans, limiting supply and driving up prices. This often forced populations to rely on expensive, inferior substitutes, which rarely satisfied the growing demand for the real thing. Despite these concerted efforts, these measures proved largely ineffective in the long run. The allure of coffee, its stimulating effects, and social appeal was simply too strong to be suppressed by decrees or taxes. Despite the formidable power of monarchs and the strictness of their laws, the bans ultimately failed to eradicate coffee consumption. The human desire for this invigorating beverage proved more resilient than anticipated. Smuggling became rampant, transforming coffee into a highly sought-after contraband item. Black markets flourished across Europe, providing a clandestine network for the trade of illicit beans. People found creative and often ingenious ways to circumvent regulations, demonstrating a remarkable determination to enjoy their forbidden brew. This widespread defiance highlighted an enduring human desire for the forbidden, a testament to coffee's powerful appeal. Ultimately, the prohibitions crumbled under their own impracticality and the sheer weight of public demand. Governments found it increasingly difficult, if not impossible, to enforce bans against a beverage that had captured the hearts and habits of so many. They were simply overwhelmed by the growing popularity of coffee, which continued to spread despite all efforts to contain it. As the bans collapsed, perspectives on coffee began to shift dramatically. The initial economic arguments against coffee, once so compelling, were gradually overshadowed by new realizations. Governments began to understand that coffee, rather than being a drain on resources, could actually be a significant source of revenue. Through taxation, coffee imports and sales could generate substantial income for the state. This realization transformed coffee from a perceived economic threat into a valuable commodity. Furthermore, the stimulating properties of coffee were increasingly recognized as beneficial for productivity. It was seen as a drink that could sharpen minds and energize workers, contributing to economic output rather than hindering it. The tumultuous history of coffee, particularly its outlawed past in 18th century Europe, serves as a powerful reminder. It illustrates the complex and often contentious relationship dynamics between governments and consumer culture. It also highlights the enduring tension between state control and fundamental human desire. This narrative demonstrates how an innocuous beverage, a simple daily ritual, can become deeply entangled in larger political struggles. It can be caught in the cross-currents of economic anxieties, nationalistic fervor, and social control. Coffee's journey from forbidden fruit to global staple is a testament to its profound impact. Ultimately, this historical episode illustrates the triumph of pleasure and personal choice over attempts at authoritarian control. The enduring appeal of coffee, its ability to transcend bans and restrictions, speaks volumes about its place in human society. It is a story of resilience, adaptation, and the irresistible allure of a good cup of coffee.